right, hey everybody, welcome to Chapter 6 of Math 6. And Chapter 6 is all about integers and the coordinate plane. So we're going to get into integers and the coordinate plane, but we'll also get into fractions and decimals on a number line. We'll start talking about absolute value, all sorts of good stuff. So it's a lot of fun. So today's video is really about 6.1, which is all about integers. So what is an integer and how do we use them? Well, here we go. So first we need to talk about positive numbers and negative numbers, okay? What's a positive number? Well, obviously I think we all know it's a number that is greater than 0, okay? Greater than 0, it's on the right of 0 on a number line. And they can be written with or without a positive sign. So writing 5 is the same as writing positive 5. Negatives, well, they are obviously less than 0, okay? And they have to be written with a negative sign. So if I'm writing 7, that's positive 7. I can't call that negative 7. It has to have the negative sign to be a negative number. All right, what about opposites? Okay, well, opposite numbers are just two numbers that are the same distance from 0 on a number line. So it's pretty intuitive, but it's one of those things we need to know. Graph negative 6 and its opposite. Well, I can graph negative 6. That's pretty easy. It's right there. But what's its opposite? Well, if it's negative 6, the opposite is going to be positive 6. And the reason we say it's the same distance from 0 is because if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to get to 0, and then start the positive version, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There you go. 6 away, 6 away. Mathematically, 6 and negative 6 are opposite numbers. How about 5.5 and his opposite? Well, 5.5, well, let's see. That's 5.5. Oh, so that's 5.5. So right in between 5 and 6 is 5.5. And what's his opposite? It's going to be negative 5.5. Make sure you go between negative 5 and negative 6, though, okay? Right there. And one more thing before we move on, kind of going back up to this sort of stuff. We have positive numbers, we have negative numbers, and there's only one other kind. It's right in between them, and it is actually the number 0. Okay, 0 is neither positive nor negative. 0 is just 0. All right, so speaking of zeros, just neither positive or negative, he's just 0. We're here talking about integers, right? So integers are the set of whole numbers and their opposites. Okay, so every whole number, and by whole, what we really mean is non-decimal, okay? Non-decimal number, and their opposites. So whole numbers intrinsically are positive. So we're really talking about all, this is another way of writing it, let's go down here, all positive and negative non-decimal numbers. That's what an integer is. Negative 18, integer. Positive 5,402, integer. Negative 166, integer. Okay? Positive, negative, non-decimal. So now we're going to do a little bit of graphing with a blank number line, and I'll kind of show you what I want in certain situations here. So let's kind of take it one at a time. Basketball player just scored 3 points. Okay, so he scored 3 points. So where would that be on a number line? Well, it's a no-brainer. I'm not trying to trick you guys. We just got to get the basics down first, okay? So where is 3, though? Well, I need to establish where 3 is, and I can really write it kind of wherever. If I wrote it there, that would be a 4, 5, and a 6, right? But I could also write the 3 right in the middle and call that a 2, a 1, and a 0, and then a 4, a 5, and a 6. There's no right or wrong way of doing it, but when we're graphing 3 points, I need to make sure I write a dot at 3. Down here, the temperature reached 42 below 0, so this one's a little different. If I only have a few tick marks on my number line, and I call that 0 right there, and I need to reach 42, it's going to be a little tough to reach 42 because that would be negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. I'm not going to make it, right? So it's okay to just say, well, let's put it in the middle, negative 42. And then we can kind of fill into the right and the left. Well, what's after negative 42 moving this way, closer to 0? Well, negative 41, negative 40, negative 39, negative 38. And then this direction, colder, negative 43, negative 44, negative 45. You get the picture. But of course we're graphing 42 below 0, so that's right there. And the last little thing for this video is just using integers, okay? So your dad thought it would be fun to take you on a terrifying roller coaster ride as a kid, and the highest point on the coaster was 315 feet tall. At the bottom of the hill below that point, you're 12 feet off the ground. So you go from 315 to 12. What we're going to do is we're going to write an integer represented by the change in height, and this is really key here, the change in height. Keep in mind the timeline, because the order of events matters. So let's think about that. What does that mean? Well, if I was to kind of draw a sketch, which again, you guys know me, I always recommend you draw pictures. Here's that hill, and then you careen down, right? So up here, they're telling us that was 315 feet. And then you get to the bottom of the hill, and they say that at that point, now you're 12 feet off the ground right there. Okay, so write the integer represented by the change. Well, what happens? Well, you start high and you go low. So it seems like the change was a subtraction. So our answer is actually going to be a negative number. But negative what is the question? Well, if I go from 315 to 12, there's obviously a gap in between there, and maybe that's helpful. So if I take 315 and I subtract 12, what I end up getting is 303, right? Okay, so what was our integer representing the change? It's actually negative 303, and we could label it feet, okay? That is our answer. Now you might be thinking, wait, negative, doesn't that mean underground? No, because this was our starting point. We changed it by negative 303, because if I said I changed it by 303, what that means it would have been going up, and that's not what happened, right? Changed it by negative 303, it landed us down here at 12 feet off the ground, and there you go. All right, guys, that's it. Short video. Thanks for watching. I'm going to see you in class.